Hello and welcome to Zirkzank Says. This is the episode in which I forget the number again, but it doesn't matter because it's never been about the number. It's been about the content. In fact, it's never been about the content either. I'll let you in on a little secret here. The main reason that I ever have made a Zirkzank Says episode is because it brings me some kind of fulfillment that's just otherwise missing from life. Now, you might think uh, may not think, but you might think, what could making YouTube videos possibly do to bring any fulfillment to anyone under any circumstance? And well, that's a very difficult thing to answer, but it just comes down to the fact that most of the time, most people don't really get to choose what they feel is important or useful or necessary to do, but when they do it, they know what that feels like. And so for me, that's been making videos. One thing I do need to think about more carefully though is the fact that if I go into YouTube, for example, this platform that we're on right now, or not, maybe this is re-uploaded in the future into a metaverse embedded file format, and it's owned by some other corporation hosted there. Doesn't matter. Point is that this was still made for the platform that I'm currently uploading this to when I do. Needless to say, I've said a lot of things in videos over the time because, well, that's it's the easiest type of content to make. All it requires is a microphone and a webcam, which I just coincidentally have. I accidentally did some research into what would be a good microphone. For example, the Audio Technica AT 2020 that I've got here. And at the time when I bought this Logitech webcam, the uh, like C920 or something, it's like those seemed like good purchases to make, and I accidentally ended up with that. And then I've been able to make videos because I think if I had to guess, it would have been due to being a young boy growing up, moving house a lot from city to city, trying to make friends, but just being pulled away at any chance that I had to do so, um, due to parents moving for different jobs and various other reasons. I came very deeply connected with the internet world from a very young age because it seemed like my internet friends, my YouTube friends, the ones that made videos uh, on the YouTube, that 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 became the type of community that I kind of grew attached to and felt like, yes, this is a significant thing in my life. This is like a normal thing. This is the right thing. This is the place that I want to live. So it's like subconsciously deeply part of what I do and want to do and feel like I need to do. But at the same time, I have enough self-awareness now to look at this entire endeavor and say that, okay, it's fair enough wanting to make entertainment, but my goodness, the videos have to be entertaining if you're going to make entertainment. And I, you know, I'm fully aware that most of the stuff that's on here is not that interesting, and I'm not being like self-deprecating, looking for someone to say, "Don't worry, no, your stuff's great." Like I know that it's definitely not the most incredible stuff. My assumption had always been just get good at talking and doing the basic layer stuff, and then focus on uh, what content to make later. Just get good at presenting, get good at uploading, get good at using the platform, get knowledgeable, and just build up all the skills and then create stuff. But that definitely seemed to be not useful. Well, maybe that would work potentially, but I didn't even really fully apply that to the extreme. Like I may have put in 10,000 hours of just doing this, but I don't think I've done it with the mindset of that would be correct for improving. So a lot of the content that I used to make is just, well, if it's Minecraft videos, that's just saying, hey, look, Minecraft's very popular right now. I enjoy playing Minecraft, and I want to make videos about it, but not really doing anything original other than bringing my own take from the game and my own quirks and personality and charisma, putting all of that, you know, essence into it. But the end result was really just that it was fun to do, but it didn't feel like it had legs, and it didn't feel like it was the best type of artwork that I could be producing, like the best use of time. And that has been like an ongoing concern of mine. So just to bring it back to the stuff that I'm talking about, for example, on my YouTube page, you can see that I have made a lot of just nonsense videos, a lot of them being political, to do with elections. And around the time, this was all like 5, 6 years ago, Brexit, um, and transgenderism, and just a lot of things that I was trying to be edgy, for the sake of being edgy, because unironically, it is fun in a way make the to make people upset, because if you make them upset but about something that is not actually um, hurting them. I mean, for example, causing physical harm to somebody, it's going to hurt them. It's probably not going to teach them anything. But if you bring attention to something about somebody, a mistake that they're making, or just forcing them to reflect on something that they may not want to reflect on through the use of trolling or comedy or philosophy, it can cause people a lot of discomfort. And I think I've naturally been drawn to doing that. But even in situations where it's not appropriate to do so, though. And that became like my number one trait. So that at a certain point, without realizing, I was just an engine. And I would say that this was like throughout the entire time I was at uh, a college and university, and then a little bit afterwards, became just an like a fucking focused engine of trying to be controversial purely for the sake of being controversial, somewhat like a Greek philosopher who would ask questions to people just to make them think about things that they thought they understood, to make them realize that they don't actually understand anything. Except I think that a lot of the ways that I had been doing that could have been causing more harm than I intended it to, because I was never really fully aware of the consequences. And I'll be honest, I miss having that mindset where I just didn't care about the way that people would perceive what I would say, because it's annoying, having extreme having any empathy is difficult because it means that you might want to say, "Hey, listen, you're being retarded right now, and you need to rethink your argument. You're wrong about this, and you should feel ashamed because it's clearly showing a lack of understanding. You're pointing out a lot of issues with yourself. Go fix yourself." Like, it may be true to say that to somebody, but saying it to them probably will make them just feel upset. And yeah, being edgy is fun, but it can be a bit upsetting. And then the most annoying part about doing that is if you've done that on the internet, it means that okay, there are videos now that I have that are just absolute complete jokes that I mean, I made a video talking about chess, which ironically I do still think chess is a bad game, but the main point of that was just to point out that people defending chess are silly. So I kept trolling and trolling. Whatever. Now people think that I hate chess. I make something about Brexit, and yeah, of course, like the time I made that video, what I'm saying in the video is, I think this is a very cool idea because I'm thinking from the perspective with the information that I have. You know what? A lot of people seem to think Brexit's stupid. Well, what if I say it's not because I believe it's not because I've constructed a narrative in my head where it's definitely not. And so with my deep and rich understanding of the narrative that I've generated, I can make a counter argument against the mainstream and say, yeah, you know what, Brexit's cool. Uh, we need to leave the European Union and we need to become a part of the United States. That would be cool. I remember thinking like that's something I heard somebody say that as like a possibility, and I thought, yeah, that sounds cool. I like that. Um, that just seemed cool. The reality of the situation was just that a lot of our trade, import, and export just has been not very favorably uh, changed. One could argue that there have been more negative outcomes than positive outcomes, but that doesn't matter. The point I'm making is just that you can say something and then it seems like that becomes like a permanent factor of the channel, of what I think as an individual and as a thinker. But it's like, do I really have to go back and explain a lot of the stuff that I was talking about in these videos? I mean, there's something here about Lucozade. I'll tell you now. This sugar is bad for you. Refined sugar shouldn't be in the diet. So it's like, okay, I was addicted to sugar. Who isn't, right? It's pretty good. It's pretty addictive. It's in everything. It's supposed to be, but I don't. Do I now have to say you shouldn't have sugar or you shouldn't have energy drinks? And I had a point that was more to this. Yeah, I don't want to have to go and re-explain a lot of the things that I've already said and just remake updates. But if it becomes relevant to do so, I will. And I'll try to clarify anything that's confusing, but mainly it's like if it's on my mind as an issue, I'll talk about it. But a lot of the stuff that I made videos about in the past has just been pretty much intentionally to troll people. And to go back to that, I'll say that trolling people for their own sake it's fun. It's interesting. You see um it's like the prank videos, but instead of playing practical jokes on people, you're playing psychological jokes on people. And if they respond well to it, they'll just laugh and be like, "Oh, you got me. You know what? That's genius. That's I'm being silly." You point out somebody that they're saying something that's quite silly, and it may take them a moment to just run the process and think like, "You know what? I've taken a step back, and actually, I am being retarded. What the fuck am I doing? Thanks for pointing it out. That's good," and they'll just laugh. But like 99% of the time, that doesn't happen. Um, and so I realized I spent a lot of time just like unnecessarily creating conflict and friction with everybody that I interacted with. So that could be friends and family members, but also just peers, uh, and anyone who I worked with or shared classes with at school, college, university, um, and not even just peers, but teachers, tutors, authorities. Now, I'm definitely a I find it very difficult to respect the automatically demanded authority of somebody who just claims to have it by uh, by virtue of their position or ranking. Um, that's that's definitely something that I struggle to deal with. But knowing that just having friction with everybody, and that if you try and cause friction with people who believe that they have this like authority complex, they definitely get worked up the most about it, and there end up being quite a lot of consequences to doing that. In the short term, I felt like just just being 100% honest and being self-expressionary. I don't know if that's a real thing. That seemed to be a good philosophy because it just meant you just um, never really felt like you doing or saying anything wrong as long as you're being honest. You could literally be killed by somebody, but it's like, hey, at least the last thing you did was being honest and truthful. Like, right? It's like down to your last breath, trolling somebody, making somebody more and more angry, and trying to point out the stupidity of like, look, dude, why are you stabbing me? It just shows that you are a weaker person than me because I can mentally resist the urge to get angry, whereas you can't. You're stupid. Oh, now you want to try and steal my phone and steal my money. Oh, yeah, okay, continue doing that. I bet you have to do this because you can't see the value in trying to get your own things through reasonable methods. Like, yeah, okay, it's there are definitely situations where aggravating an aggressor or trying to point out to an aggressor that they're being stupid. Like, come on, guys, really? You're gonna mug me? Like, it doesn't, uh, definitely doesn't translate to some situations. And not just those types of situations, but many more. It's difficult for cooperation. That's what I'm trying to say. It's not the best way to cooperate with people to be in a permanent state of contrarianism and mocking. I don't think I have been a permanent state of that, but it is definitely a big characteristic. And so I want to try and say that the content that I aim to be making going forwards from this. And yes, I'm aware that the last video I made was like 2 months ago. I was trying to make videos every week, but I just didn't get any chance to do so because uh, circumstances do not allow me to freely make videos whenever I please, as I previously had when I was just like alone in a room at university and then a little bit afterwards. Now it's very rare that I have that kind of privilege. And it is a privilege, I guess, even though I took it for granted having that for like 20 plus years. Then when you finally at some point don't have that privilege of just freedom and time alone to just be lost in thought and make videos. And like I was even making poetry. Do you know how like mentally insulated you have to be to make poetry? It is pretty, you have to be pretty fucking deep in your own head, in your own ass. You have to be sticking your head so deep, going so deep into your own head that you fall out of your own ass to make poetry. So like being detached from that and forced to kind of like pull my head out of my ass and take a look back at myself, like I gave birth to myself out of my own anus in order to get a third person perspective. um I don't know if this metaphor is really working, but yes, aging, that's a thing. I would advise against it because now, instead of being depressed and thinking it's funny, I'm mostly just miserable and I don't think it's funny anymore. And okay, I'm not trolling people, but it definitely feels like I should be, although I know I shouldn't. And I'm at a fucking weird position of internal conflict. Hopefully, at some point, can get a Zirkzank Says with, uh, so it will be like a co-hosted thing, because I think that that really is the future that's required for this type of format. It's possible to just, ramble on and on forever. I mean, I can do this, make this kind of content, but I definitely want to get better at doing content that has isn't content that's like actual, has artistic merit. And I think that you can only do that if you're trying to, uh if you're not trying to, that's what I'm trying to say. You can only make good art when you're not trying to make content, when you're not forcing yourself to do something, when you're pretty good at it. Like you have to practice doing the craft, you have to practice the instrument that you're going to play, you have to practice with the tool that you're going to use. But then you have to just let it flow. You don't have to do anything, because using words like have to sounds a bit forceful. It's more like you can then just let it flow. Once you've got a bit of practice with the tool and the instruments, you can let it flow out and it becomes quite good. Or it doesn't. But the point is, you pretty much need to get a lot of the practice done. Like it's taken me about 25 minutes to simply say, I don't know what I was doing in my old videos, and I still don't, but now I have a different mindset. So like I could have said that in like what, 5 seconds, but I spent 25 minutes doing it. But anyway, thanks for watching this whole video if you did, and if you didn't, why didn't you? Hmm?